First, to another critical topic tonight, the left's push to further their radical agenda by packing the Supreme Court with liberal justices. Take a listen.
The Republicans stole 2 seats on the Supreme Court, and now it is up to us to repair that damage. We must expand the court, and we must abolish the filibuster to do it.
Some people will say we're packing the court. We're not packing it. We're unpacking it.
Senator Lindsey Graham joins me now to react to that and much more. Good evening, Senator Graham. Thanks so much for being with us. First question to you.
Thank you.
When they say the Supreme Court is broken and they need to fix it, what are these people talking about?
It's conservative and they want it to be liberal. There's nothing broken about the Supreme Court. There are 9 justices. It's been that way since 1869, I think. They want to turn the court upside down to pack it with liberals because they don't like the makeup of the court. And what will happen is that every time one party takes over from the other, we'll change the number of justices. You've been a lawyer all your life. It will destroy the rule of law as we know. This is the biggest assault on the rule of law and the independent judiciary in my lifetime. The idea of packing the court so liberals can make it liberal rather than changing the makeup through the election process the way we've done it for a long time. So this is a very dramatic, bold move, and I'll do everything in my power to stop it in the Senate because it would destroy the Supreme Court as we know it. It would become a political football.
Well, there's no question it would be just another political branch of government, you know, in the party of whichever party is in power.
Yep.
And even Ruth Bader Ginsburg said that it was a bad idea to pack the court.
Exactly.
But and they can rule on anything. They can rule on the Second Amendment, on abortion, on unions, on any one of a number of issues. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
right.
The court matters to our lives.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
To all of us. I want to move on for a second because there's a lot of news. Now, today, President Biden said for the first time that that there was a crisis at the border. I think we have some sound on that.
Yeah. We're going to increase the number. We had the problem was that the refugee was working on the crisis that ended up on the border with young people. We couldn't do 2 things at once now. So now we're going to increase the number.
Well, you know, it's not real clear what he's talking about, but he had initially said that they were going to cap the refugees coming across at 15,000. Yeah. AOC has a conniption, and then he changes his mind, and he actually admits that there's a crisis on the border. What do you think of that?
Well, it's not a crisis, it's chaos. I was down there just a few weeks ago. We had 172,000 people come into the country illegally in March alone. We're on track to do 2 million. The Border Patrol told the Biden administration during the transition, if you reverse Trump policies, there'll be a run on the border. They were right. I've never been more worried than I am now about the world at large, writ large. You've got the Russians threatening to go into Ukraine. You got the Chinese threatening Taiwan. The border's completely out of control. We're going to withdraw completely from Afghanistan and make sure the Taliban take care of al-Qaeda and ISIS. That's insane. So Joe Biden has created a lot of instability in a very short period of time. And if he doesn't change his policies on the border, the worst is yet to come. If he doesn't get tougher with the Iranians, they're going to have a bomb before you know it. I'm really worried about the world under the Biden administration. They're clueless, in my view, in terms of the threats we face at the border and abroad.
Well, let's talk about specifically Afghanistan. I know you feel very strongly about it. There are 2,000, 2,500 military forces there. Why are you so against removing them?
Well, they're an insurance policy against another 9/11. The last time we ignored Afghanistan, we had 3,000 Americans killed. Afghanistan was a safe haven for al-Qaeda. They planned the attacks against our country there. Have we learned nothing from Iraq? When we withdraw from these places and don't have an insurance policy residual force to watch the bad guys, they come back here. If you don't have your foot on their throat over there, they're coming back here. If you don't fight in their backyard, they're going to come back to our backyard. This is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. If we had 3,000 or 4,000 folks on the ground over there, Al-Qaeda and ISIS could never regenerate to attack the United States. I think what he's done, Biden, is left us naked. We're now depending on one group of terrorists to police another group of terrorists. I'm very worried that we're going to pay a heavy price for leaving Afghanistan like we did in Iraq, but it's going to be worse. They're going to come roaring back, and we're going to have to go back in, and we're putting our homeland at risk. If you don't believe me, believe the military. He was advised not to do this in Iraq. He did it. He was advised not to do it in Afghanistan, and he did it anyway. And he was told by the Border Patrol, don't change Trump policies, you'll lose control of the border. He constantly turns down sound advice to the detriment of our country, and I'm very worried about the state of the world under Joe Biden.
All right, Senator Lindsey Graham, thanks so much for being with us tonight. We appreciate your insight.
Thank you.